On the Fringe with Dan radio style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. We are heading into some interesting times, folks. It's all I got to say. Every day it feels like that, right? Like, put my finger, touch outside, I'm like, oh, crap. It's another day of this, I guess. Seems we got some escalations happening. Kind of got things broken down in a different way today. Kind of what they're attempting to do, some of the BS they're trying to get away with, and I think how we're kind of really turning the screws on them. I still think we're actually winning to a large extent. They have the ability to do some pretty radical stuff, though, and that's a big part of the problem. So, yes, they're going to cheat on the election. That's a given, but we've got to get to that point. We've got to keep pushing the snowplow forward, if you will, or the front loader, or whatever the hell, right? Like, we've got to keep filling it up. We've got to keep pushing it forward. We've got to get to the point where then they have to react to where we're at. And we're not there yet, but we're getting there. And we're kicking ass. Got a lot going on and lots to talk about, and let's do it. What the heck? Oh, shucks. And by the way, we're going to be doing all sorts of disco music this week. Friday's music show. I hope you guys have a chance to join me for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Donald Trump truth this out. The latest Fox News poll is trash. Now, I want to preface this. I want to couch this first. I feel like the only reason I'm sharing this, by the way, I don't give a crap about the polls. I really don't. And especially when it comes to the election, I'd rather people just think that Donald Trump's not winning is when I don't know. It doesn't even matter to me. But he's really worried about the Fox News, and he's been kind of hammering on Fox News lately, and a lot of it's because of this polls. What I do want to share this story for, or the reason I want to do this, is because it demonstrates how polls work. You always got to pay attention to who the poll is from, who did it, and then there's the sampling and how they choose the sampling. And they intentionally choose things the way they do because it generates results. It generates the numbers they expect to see. If they want to have a fake poll and make things look a certain way, all they've got to do is do what they did on this. So main reason I'm sharing this is I think it gives a great insight into how this bullshit works. So the latest Fox News poll is trash. They used a biased Democrat-leaning sample of voters, polling more Biden 2020 voters than Trump 2020 voters to skew the results in favor of Crooked Joe. I am leading big in virtually every other poll, including in all of the key battleground states like Wisconsin, where I just held a massive rally, and Pennsylvania, where I will be on Saturday. Also, the number one issue in this country is not protecting democracy. It is inflation and immigration. It is protecting, if it is protecting democracy, Trump is your best choice because crooked Joe Biden is the greatest threat to democracy in the history with his open border and weaponization of our justice system against his political opponent, me. Fox News polls have never treated me or MAGA fairly. Don't worry, we will win. Fox News should get rid of Paul Ryan and get a new pollster, but they won't. And he's just calling it out, and this is how the game is played. And, of course, more of what is funny about how the game is played. Now that Lord Fauci admits keeping schools closed was a mistake, will all of these different news organizations that were hammering Trump for disagreeing with Fauci, will they apologize? No, of course they won't. And still, it bothers the hell out of me how many people expect mainstream media to change. But what I do think is fun is pointing out when they were wrong and how often they're wrong. And for all the people that are like, well, I got my news from MSNBC. What do you mean? It's like, well, that is factually incorrect a bunch of times. Here's all over the place. Now, they generally report somewhat correctly. Don't get me wrong. They're not just, I mean, they're sometimes salacious lies, but it's the slant, it's the spin, it's why we're winning the information war now. So again, Politico, CNN, New York Times, yada, yada, yada. You know them all. And they all hammered on Trump for the same things. Now, the mainstream media is pushing hard for this White House's cheap fakes things. This is, again, an example of how they're going to be wrong. And it's funny how and why they're doing it. Again, it's one of the most absurd things. I'm going to play like literally 5 seconds of this. If that, anyway, let's pull this over here.
You've probably heard of deep fakes, but just last week, as President Biden...
All right, that's all I want to play. All right, you've obviously heard of deep fakes. It's like 5 minutes long. Who gives a shit what they're going to say? But that's the big thing they're pushing right now. That videos that are actually like live showing Biden being stupid, and there's many to choose from. Apparently, these are all cheap fakes. Fakes. Well, I mean, part of me wants to kind of respond to that and say, well, Biden's about as fake an individual as you could possibly have, so Maybe? And when you say cheap, I don't know. But I don't know what they're trying to say. It's not working well for them. I'll say that much. Lead prosecutor in hush money trial also shut all federal 2020 election fraud investigations. This is an odd story that maybe you aren't familiar with. Matthew Colangelo, we've heard his name. It's the guy that left the Department of Justice so he could go and help, bust Trump in the New York thing, right? So Matthew Colangelo, that guy, a former official at the Department of Justice under Joe Biden, has drawn attention after transferring to the office of New York District Attorney Alvin Bragg, allegedly backed by billionaire George Soros. Probably a coincidence. President Trump highlighted Colangelo's connections to the Biden administration, prompting Judge Juan Merchan, who is overseeing the case, to impose a gag order on Trump. Trump was eventually indicted and found guilty in a case that involved no actual crimes. Attorney Mike Davis has publicly criticized Colangelo, citing his ties to both the Biden and Obama administrations. Pennsylvania investigator Leah Hoops and Greg Stenstrom have released information suggesting that Colangelo, during his brief tenure at the DOJ, played a significant role in halting investigations into the 2020 election. In October 2020, then Attorney General Bill Barr issued a memo instructing federal investigations into election fraud, involving the Attorney General, the Inspector General, and the FBI. After receiving substantial evidence of alleged wrongdoing after the election, Barr's November 9th, 2020 memo authorized the U.S. attorneys to investigate election fraud further. However, this memo faced pushback. On November 13th, 2020, 19 Democrat attorneys general, including those from Michigan, New York, and Wisconsin, funny the states that are happening, right? Those three states urged Barr to rescind his directive. Barr did not retract his memo, but the situation changed with the inauguration of Biden. On January 20th, 2021, the day Biden took office, Matthew Colangelo was appointed acting associate attorney general at the DOJ. Just 12 days into his role, Colangelo rescinded Barr's November 9th memo, effectively halting federal investigations into the 2020 election issues. Acting Attorney General Monty Wilkinson formally rescinded the memo on February 3rd, 2021. Hoops and Stenstrom's findings indicate Colangelo was instrumental in this decision. All the different places, all the dirty actors have been able to do all sorts of problematic things. Whistleblower nurse claims the FBI turned up at her door and threatened her after she accused America's largest children's hospital of illegally giving kids free sex change operations. Once again, this is at Texas hospital. I think it's the same one we had that story about the doctor. But Vanessa Savage told journalistic Chris Rufo that her employer, the Texas Children's Hospital, was violating state law by using the benefits to provide sex change operations to minors. She further alleged that doctors at the hospital were manipulating patients into accepting gender-affirming care and said she believed that some families feared the doctors would call Child Protective Services if they dissented. A little bit of pressure tactics. Now, one thing to keep in mind, doctors, not all of them, some are scientists. The scientist ones are not actual doctors. Like, I'm just going to try to give credit to the doctors that are out there because it's do no harm is the first thing they want to do. They want to help patients. That's why they got into being a doctor. But scientists don't give a shit. They just want to do crazy experiments. They want to do crazy new stuff. They want their names attached to things like that. That's what they're into. So this is a big part of where these doctors are coming into play. Now, again, we have more people rushing across the border. Gotta love this. It's here in California. I think they said over 200 to 150 to 200 just in this one city. It's funny. It's like you think all they'd need to do is put some borders and barricades up. Just bringing attention to this because they continue to do this. They're going to continue to do this. They're trying to change the outcome of elections. We know this. Now, to keep things just fun and carefree. All these illegals that are coming in, well, they're up, and a bunch of them are up there in Washington State because, they're a sanctuary state. And they've got these tent cities, and they're like, hey, they're demanding that this hotel that, used to cater to, patrons that paid money, or they're like, you let us in your hotel for free. Yeah. And so that's what they're saying, and I wouldn't be surprised if Washington's considering doing that, possibly paying the hotel money because it's illegal to otherwise just give it to poor people. That would be kind of messed up. But this is what the sanctuary cities and states are doing. Everybody is creating their own problems. And what's really fun about how this is playing out is the cities and states that have not gone down the deep state path are the ones that are going to be successful, are the ones that are going to be far safer, are the ones that are going to be examples. And the cities and states that have completely gone down the deep state's path are probably going to have severe problems over the next few months. Severe problems. I feel like fire is a big part of it. I don't know. We'll see how it all plays out. Now, another individual right now, they're trying to defrock him or even debishop him. I don't know what the proper terms is. Maybe it's in here someplace. I am Catholic, but I don't know all these silly things. But the dicastery for the doctrine of the faith has informed me with a simple email of the initiative of, they're going to, what are they trying to do? See if I can actually see this closer. No, not like that. There we go. Show more. So, I can't read that, and it's probably in Latin. Whatever the hell. They're like basically defrocking him, de-something on him. This is Vigano. This is the guy that has made the Q posts. I don't know if you guys know that. Big, serious deal going on. Carlos, his real name in the actual post over here is crazy. It's Arcivescovo Carlo Maria Vigano. Crazy cool name, right? Lots of stuff going on there. There. Pope is going after him. We are at the spiritual war. It will be biblical, as many have said. It will be times to change everything for everyone. Or there's two separate paths. I keep kind of seeing this in a weird way. I was having this discussion with myself earlier today, by the way. All said, deep state BS, bullshizzle. Here's a GOP senator is talking about the Boeing, how they used to make planes in-house. Now they're outsourcing everything to subcontractors in China. He's like, no wonder stuff's not working anymore. Kind of what they've been doing. Also, Boeing's having major problems right now at the space station. We're going to talk about that.
Given the complexities of the industry and the landscape of production globally, what realistically can the U.S. Senate do to make it so Boeing and other plane manufacturers are not only reliable but transparent?
Well, I tell you one thing that I've talked about with Calhoun, with the CEO, is this. Boeing used to, Jake, manufacture almost all of their planes themselves in-house. Now they have over 600 separate suppliers, probably hundreds of more subcontractors worldwide, including many, many in China. I think that we've got to make clear to these guys, you need to bring that production back home. If that means tariffs on the parts that are made overseas, we should do that. If that means that we have tax incentives to make sure they actually make things in this country and pay their workers well, we should do that. But I think the message to corporate America needs to be this era of offshoring and outsourcing, look where it leads. It ends with planes falling out of the sky. That's where it ends. It ends with workers in this country not able to make ends meet. We've got to change all of the above.
I like Josh Hawley. He's very hyperbolic, and I think that's just that's just part of his fun. But he's good. He's good at sending the message home. J6 committee destroyed evidence, was improperly constituted, and concealed videos of Nancy Pelosi taking the blame for the attacks. This is actually, I think, worth it. I think it was Fox News, if I remember correctly, but a good little piece they put together here. OAN, sorry, but good stuff. Check it out.
Congressman Matt Gaetz explains how the GOP-led House may immediately remediate the results of the Democrat-led January 6th committee. Here's One America's John Hines with more from Washington.
I know that you serve on the, of course, the Armed Services, House Armed Services Committee. You have a great military presence in the 1st District of Florida, I know. Also, one of your other assignments is the House Judiciary Committee. You're very outspoken on that committee. You have been outspoken with regard to J6 defendants. As a matter of fact, I've seen you at the D.C. jail visiting J6 defendants on a couple of occasions, several occasions. So I know you've been following this issue very closely. I wanted to ask you, you've seen, I think, that video where the former Speaker of the House says that she takes responsibility for not having the National Guard defending the Capitol on J6 2021. Do you see any way that the House, the Speaker maybe, or the House could act to basically disavow maybe the actions of that select Democrat J6 panel and maybe somehow delegitimize that, so then these charges against some of these others, these contempt of Congress charges, I'm thinking Mr. Bannon, also Mr. Navarro, who are actually either in jail or will have been are to do jail time, maybe could vacate those sentences somehow if the House backed out of that legitimizing that J6 panel. What do you think, sir?
Well, the January 6th committee was illegitimate for a variety of reasons, but we have learned new things during Republican control of the House that I think compels us to remediate the constitutional infirmities that were born upon the country from the January 6th committee. And here's what I'm talking about. We've learned they destroyed evidence, particularly as it relates to Steve Bannon. When I went and reviewed the January 6th committee's files, man, for every target, they had their bank records, their Uber rides, even their cell phone transactions. But the Steve Bannon file was the only file that was totally empty. So they did not maintain the rules of the House, and I think that has due process implications that we now in control need to go remediate on behalf of the House. The other problem is that there was key evidence that wasn't included. You referenced this video, and let's pause to give Nancy Pelosi a tremendous amount of credit. In those moments, in the immediate aftermath of the attack on the Capitol, Nancy Pelosi was saying, this is our fault. We didn't do the right things. We did not have proper preparations. And so I give her credit in that moment, but I give Nancy Pelosi a whole heck of a lot of blame for everything that's happened since. Because since that time, they've tried to use January 6th as a cudgel against an entire political movement of tens of millions of people who have no desire to be violent or harmful in any way. We want our voices heard through free and fair elections. We want the opportunity to peacefully protest if that's not occurring. And for people who had no intent to violate the law, here's what Congress can do now. Since 2015, the Congress speaks in litigation through an entity called the Bipartisan Legal Advisory Group, the BLAG. That's controlled by Republicans 3-2. I believe they should immediately take a vote that the January 6th committee destroyed evidence, that they were improperly constituted without a proper minority ranking member, and then they hid other evidence and concealed it that they knew existed, particularly regarding Nancy Pelosi taking the blame for the attack, rightfully, in the immediate aftermath.
Even if the speaker's on board, you, of course, have to get support from the Republican conference. Do you think that the rest of the Republican conference is persuadable to remediate the results of that Democrat J6 panel, especially with regard to the contempt charges against some of these people who are now in jail or going to jail?
Yeah, I don't believe we have the votes to prevail on that question on the floor. I wish we did. I would vote to remediate all of these contempt matters. However, the remedy, the legal remedy that I'm talking about can be achieved with a 3-2 vote of the BLAG. And the three members there are the Speaker, the Majority Leader, and the Majority Whip. The Democrats get to populate that committee with the Minority Leader and the Minority Whip. So that entity, since 2015, speaks for the House in litigation. They took a 3-2 vote to initiate a lot of these unlawful, unconstitutional, runaway committee ultra-virus acts, and now I think that very entity can appropriately get the House positioned back within our norms.
Florida's 1st District Congressman Matt Gaetz, sir, thank you for joining me. It's a pleasure to catch up with you, especially when you're sitting down and it's not in the hallways.
Yeah, he's, again, really bringing it out, and there's a way that they can do that. Now, timing of it, of course, it's going to be played bad in the public, the press, I should say, but this is actually one of those things that I think will come at the right time. Timing's everything, guys. And I think this is something to always keep in mind. If anything, if you don't believe in the plan, or if you do believe in the plan, whatever the case is, the timing is critical. Critical, especially in building a plot. Newt Gingrich put this out. So the Biden campaign runs attack ads describing President Trump as a convicted felon, and President Biden attacks him again and again over the trial, but the New York appeals court upheld the gag order, which blocks President Trump from defending himself. How can this happen in America? How can this be anything but a clear violation of the First Amendment right to free speech? If they can gag a former president, they can gag you and me. This is really dangerous. 100% true. Donald Trump's truthed out. All Biden can do is talk about his weaponized witch hunt trials against me because his administration has been such a failure. Never happened in a country before. And it's pretty messed up. Here is Comer. Yeah, James Comer talking about the new documents they got about what Biden administration caving to the left and all this crazy stuff. Good stuff coming out. John Kerry is a bad dude and has made a bunch of agreements that he didn't have the legal authority to make, is probably where we're ultimately going. But here's some evidence leading in that direction.
Involving John Kerry's former climate office.
So according to internal documents obtained by a watchdog group, the Special Presidential Envoy for Climate, or SPEC, was apparently coordinating with left-wing nonprofits to shut down coal production in the U.S. Congressman, that is both stupid and completely antithetical to American interests.
Yes.
Absolutely. You cannot push electric vehicles down the throats of every American, forcing the United States Postal Service to electrify the fleet, trying to force the government fleet into electric vehicles, trying to incentivize every American to go out and buy an electric vehicle, and not have the energy capability to supply the electric vehicles with energy. And coal has to be a major part of the equation. It's not the only answer, but it should be a major part of the equation. We don't have the infrastructure. We don't have the capacity to supply just the EVs alone, much less every air conditioner and heater in every American household, without coal being a major part of the equation. And what they have done to coal in the last few years should be concerning to every American. They're fixing to shut down another coal plant in Kentucky, in our largest city in Louisville. And there's really no plan B to be able to supply the increased demand for electricity that not only our growing economy is going to require, but also these electric vehicles. So this is not in the best interest of the American economy. It's not in the best interest of the consumers. And we want to know who all's involved in this propaganda. Right. And I believe you're going to find that China is playing a role in this as well.
Well, it helps China because China can build as many coal-fired power plants as it wants, as we're witnessing. Congressman James Comer, thank you so much.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. And that's what cracks me up about all this. It's like, haha, we're going to have clean energy, clean air. And it's like, is China doing it? No. Is India doing it? No. Well, then why are we doing it? Because we can feel good about ourselves. What, while we're being captured? Is that, guys are, oh my God, these people are crazy. Feds try to delay release of non-public COVID vaccine safety data until at least 2026. Oh, you mean well after the election? Oh, and then far enough before the next one? Oh, or well after the point when they've already put the next pandemic out? Yeah, exactly. That's more like what this is. It's coming out before the pandemic. The avian flu or the cow flu or the bird cow flu or the bird pig cow flu. I don't know, E-I-E-I-O. Pick an animal. Pull the string on your little kid's toy and see what the hell noise it makes, right? That's what it sounds like. They call it the pig flu because every time you cough, it sounds like oinking, right? Like it's going to be great. It's good times. The Biden administration is seeking to delay until at least 2026 the release of all this stuff. So, yeah, thanks, Biden administration. You're awesome. A judge in Florida tapped by President Joe Biden for a top federal court spot failed to disclose at least 2 child sex-related cases that saw his lenient rulings reversed. Embry Kidd, a judge in U.S. District Court for the Middle District of Florida, is under fire from Republicans over his prior omission of the 2 cases on his nominee questionnaire, which was quietly updated this week to address the matter. Biden nominated Kidd in May to fill a vacancy of the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, which oversees courts in Alabama, Florida, and Georgia. Trying to mess with your courts down there, guys. You think you're conservative, but they've screwed with your courts now. You got to pay attention to everything that's happening locally. It's why that lovely lady Nana started Nana's Little Corner, or Little Nana's Corner, or Nana's Little Corner. I think it was. Hope you guys have subscribed to her. But she's talking about Florida and what's going on in Florida and Florida events. We need more people like that doing their states, talking about the crazy shit that's happening out there. This is insane. I can't cover it all. I bring up some California every once in a while, but good Lord, how often is there actually good news from here? And it does affect the nation. Not only is it becoming a pattern The content of these belated disclosed cases is concerning, says Lindsey Graham, Senate Judiciary Committee ranking member. It's a bunch of nonsense. With all due respect, these cases should have been disclosed. It is hard to provide advice and consent on judicial nominees when the nominee doesn't disclose highly relevant cases. That's why you guys do research, Lindsey. That's why you got a staff. Get out of here. All said. Judge in Trump's document case rejected suggestions to step aside. This is how the game's played. So when Eileen Cannon originally was going to get the case, many of her friends, her close advisors, said, you should probably step away from this. You should back away. Right? Step aside. Don't need to see this. This isn't your problem. Let us take care of this for you. Now, I don't know if they were the judges that were going to get the case, but obviously they didn't want her getting it. She's a Trump-appointed judge. She actually cares about the Constitution, not the crazy socialistic stuff that's happening. Now, funny, I don't know if you guys knew this. Chief Justice Roberts, right? He's supposedly conservative, but we also believe he's been to Epstein Island. Pretty sure that's for sure, but I don't know for sure. I don't want to end up in court here. I don't know. Allegedly, I've heard. I've seen evidence that might be fake, might be real. But yeah, we all know, right? All said, Chief Justice Roberts, he's the guy that actually chose all 11 FISA court judges. All the FISA court judges were chosen by John Roberts. Justice Roberts. I don't know if his first name's John. I think it is. You know me in names. Who cares? Chief Roberts chose them all. We think he's been to Epstein. Not sure. I don't have pictures of it. Epstein does. Alleging that he was there. Right? Come on. Democrats are currently in 5 stages of grief. I thought there were 7, but we're going to leave that alone for the moment. As Victor Davis Hanson said, they're going through the 5 proverbial cycles of denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. Democrats are going to tell you everything you see and everything you feel isn't true. Joe Biden just launched a cheap fake task force to coordinate with social media platforms and fight election misinformation. Stage 2 is anger, often directed at their fellow Democrats. They become short-tempered and hostile. Next, they bargain. Realizing denying and yelling won't get them anywhere, they cope by making trade-offs. Then comes depression, the most painful of the 5 stages. Be on the lookout for recriminations, loathing, and foul language as reality begins to sink in. And after all that, then you realize you can't go back. Well, that's when you've reached the final stage of acceptance. The time is coming, and certainly that was not worth the 7 minutes of video they had. Now, here again, kind of under the 5 stages where they're still under the impression that this is just going fine. White House video caption slips up dubs Kamala Harris, Madam President, during Queer Eye casting meeting. So, intentionally called her Madam President. Is this a 25th Amendment nod? I kind of think it's more that than this mistake they're selling it as. They're putting it right in front of our eyes. They're going to 25th Amendment Biden. I'm figuring, like we've talked about, he's going to get through this debate. There's just no way it's going to go well. They're going to have to take multiple breaks so he can go off camera and do whatever or get shot up with whatever. They're going to gig him up. I don't know if he'll even survive it. Maybe just even trying to go through the debate and the amount of narcotics he'll end up having to put in his system maybe are possibly going to do damage to him. All said, they're already calling her Madam President. Stephen Miller put this out. If the leader of the free world needs 7 straight days of continuous, uninterrupted rest to stand for one 90-minute debate, that tells you all you need to know about his fitness for office. Now, Stephen Miller, I don't even come close to agreeing with your way of looking at this. I hear what you're saying, and I don't disagree with you. What I am saying is I think this demonstrates Biden doesn't care. It's almost like they're not taking it seriously. I almost wonder if it's even going to happen. I don't know. It's strange. But Biden does not. He's hanging out in Hagerstown. Maybe that's where he's getting all of his training, and they're doing it for an entire week. It could be. I don't know. Who knows with Biden? I can't imagine him taking anything seriously. The dude thinks he is like number one, the best dude out. I'll take you behind the barn if you don't believe in me. He was a nut. NBC News posted this, so of course it means nothing. Why? Presidents often struggle in their first re-election debates. They're already prepping it. They're already laying it out. They're like, he might not do well. Here's why. Because statistically speaking, 4 out of 5 dentists recommend chewing Trident after debates. Like, it's just stupid. They're already saying, like, normally this far into an incumbent doesn't do well in their first debate. Dude, Trump was killing it. Killing it. Whatever. Everyone tried to say he lost, but he always won, and we all knew that. So, they're already prepping that Biden's probably going to lose. I don't know how he can win. He's got nothing. All he can do is, you're a felon. You're a felon. Felony, feloner. Feloner. Like, that's all I can do is just say the word over and over for, like, how long do I get to talk? All right, you're a felon, 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 you're a felon. Like, that's all he can do because he can't speak to anything else. He makes stuff up. He's going to totally make stuff up, and Trump's going to call him on it. They're going to ask Trump a question. I can't wait to see how they try to control this. They'll ask Trump a question. They'll open up his microphone, and then he'll just start railing on how he was lying just before. None of that's actually true. And then they'll try to shut his microphone off. If you're not going to answer the questions that are asked of you, it's going to be a shit show. It's going to be awesome. And they're already preparing for the loss because it's coming. Unusual Whales posted this. U.S. economy is in a selective recession as lower income consumers can't cover the cost of living. So J.P. Morgan's saying. We're in a selective recession. The Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act was passed after the Great Depression had already started. If you want to study tariffs and how powerful they are, study the administration of President William McKinley. America had so much money, they didn't know what to do with it. That's probably partially why we got into shipbuilding and the war and a whole bunch of stuff, if you think about it. All said, those aren't the directions we're going right now. Go to drslikesgold.com. drslikesgold.com. One thing that's happening with gold, with money, I should say, in general, and I actually finally recorded a bunch of that Mark Moss stuff. I got to edit it up because it's like long, but it's super good. We're going to get this in front of you because I want you guys to be educated on this. All said, the value of money is dropping significantly, which means anything pegged to money the value is dropping. It may look like the numbers are going up, but the value of those dollars are majorly going down. Gold, Bitcoin have done really well. They're actually up significantly. Bitcoin better than gold, but gold has certainly been like 45%. It's solid, big time, doing very well, even in spite of the way inflation's happening. That's why it's such a protector of currencies during these times. That's why there's countries literally buying it, because they understand there's sort of a collapse happening. You can only shove so much stuff off to the side in precious metals and hang on to it because it is liquid, but at the same time, it's not something you want to go back and forth to the store every other week and try to exchange out for current currency. You don't want to do it like that. But when it comes to your retirement, you definitely don't want to keep investing in their system. Their system's crumbling down. Get out of their system into something that literally protects the wealth you have left. It protects it and actually will cause it to grow. And you'll see those numbers happening almost immediately, especially with the way things are playing out right now. I wouldn't waste a lot of time. It's up to you. You got to take it how you feel. I shared the story yesterday about the guy stuck on the roof as the rising waters were coming. Somebody's not going to come and save you. This is about saving ourselves. And you're going to be grateful you did it. And this is why this is a sweet deal. My good friends at Goldco will help you through this. They make it easy. They make it fast, at least as fast as can be, and certainly as fast as we're willing to go. There's a lot that comes into, docs you got to sign and getting paperwork and information, but they make it as easy as possible. drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. If you're sitting on a bunch of cash right now and you don't know exactly if you want to, if you want to be able to bring some of that over and have that value kind of accrue, buy some precious metals. Go to drslikesgold.com. You could actually qualify to up to $8,000 of free silver. Silver's so underpriced right now because of its utilizations and because of some of the paper contracts still. Silver's going to be a rising champ. And both silver and gold have gone up insanely since March of this year. A lot they've gone up. drslikesgold.com. drslikesgold.com. Get out while the getting's as good as it's going to get. You can take as much as you possibly can right now, or every day. They're just chipping away a piece at a time, a piece at a time. They can't chip it away when it's sitting in this. They can't. This coin is forever value held. They can't chip away at it. drslikesgold.com. DRS.com. DRS, like skull.com. Get out of their system before they get it out of you. That's right. All right, let's do this. Okay, FJP, we got some stuff here. Bill Malugin posted this. Rachel Morin's mom tells at Ingram Angle nobody from the Biden administration has reached out to her or her family, and said DHS Secretary Mayorkas reference to her daughter as an individual on CNN rather than using her name shows how impersonal they are. Here is, I believe, Mayorkas saying just that.
I do want to ask you about the murder of this Maryland mother that has been in the news. It's gotten a lot of attention. She was killed last year. An undocumented immigrant was just arrested in her death last week. He's suspected of multiple crimes since he crossed the border illegally in early 2023. Obviously, you know, we know that the studies show that undocumented immigrants don't commit more crimes statistically than native-born U.S. citizens. But what do you say to critics who blame the administration for allowing something like this to happen? Yeah, obviously, this is something that you hear in right-wing media all the time.
Jim, first and foremost, of course, our hearts break for the children, the family, the loved ones, the friends of the individual who was murdered, the woman, the mother. Jim, a criminal is responsible for the criminal act. The criminal who committed this heinous act should be held accountable to the fullest extent of the law, and forcefully so. That is my response.
You let that criminal in, you jackass. Get out of here with your whole criminal did this. Yeah, I get you, there's American-born criminals. I get you. But the problem is a lot of the people, a lot of them, I don't know what the statistics are, it's probably a tiny percentage of the overall huge-ass number of people that you've got flooding into this country. But nonetheless, there's hundreds to thousands of criminals coming across the border. My Mayorkas. Get your butthole out of here. I'm tired of smelling what you're farting out. I don't know. Seemed like a slant on the rock, kind of a little bit. I don't know what happened to me. Bill Malugin says, hey, the attorney representing Rachel Morin's family says Trump called Rachel's mom today to offer her condolences. So at least Trump's been there. What's up, Biden? Why haven't you? Corn growers join a lawsuit against the EPA for emission mandates. They were, I believe, joining the car industry? No, oil industry, sorry. Several U.S. oil and corn industry lobby groups are suing the Biden administration over his plans to slash planet warming tailpipe emissions from cars and trucks. All sorts of issues. And this comes into farming, too. You got to use tractors and stuff to do the farming. So, yeah, what we're doing is destroying ourselves. It's just so. And the people that are like, but the climate, the planet's going to kill us. Well, if we kill all of our crops that feed ourselves, we're going to die even faster. I mean, we've got problems. And by the way, for all the people that are worried about climate, seriously, look into the magnetic field of the planet. Look into it. It is dropping fast. Okay? That's a big part of what we're experiencing. And, by the way, the entire solar system, with the exception of Mercury, but I think they've got some moons that they've seen this on, so whatever. More than 9 planets, 9 objects, are actually experiencing strange changes as well. It can't be man-made, because I know we're not messing around on Neptune or Saturn or Jupiter or Venus or any of the Mars, any of the planets. But they're all experiencing changes in their climate right now. Why is that? What do they have in common? It's not man, not necessarily CO2, certainly the sun. I just like silly people that make things simplistic and then believe simplistic things, and then when you try to challenge that, they're like, but it's too difficult, it's too complex. It's like, yours is too stupidly simple. Doesn't speak to what's going on. True Social put this out. Now, or I think this is Trump's global media company of Truth Social. Okay, as the company. I see, that's why they put it up. That makes sense. Now that the SEC has declared our registration statement effective, TMTG could receive up to an additional $247 million in warrant proceeds, plus $40 million in previously restricted cash. So this is an enhancement, I guess, to their stock handling or stock, I don't know, whatever, ranking, rating, type, I don't know. It's better, though, for them. They can get more money. That's awesome. So TMTG, good on you. Here is Laura Trump talking about, well, Trump's going to be the president, the Republican National Convention's choice. What's the proper term? He will be the, whatever the hell. He's going to be the one that is running for president for the Republican Party. All said, here's Laura Trump saying it much better than I can.
There's the lawfare that's also impacting President Trump. And the thing that comes to mind for me is the fact that Judge Juan Merchan could very well sentence President Trump to jail or some sort of prison time, not allowing him to be there for the Republican National Convention, which is of major concern. That is lawfare in its essence, in my mind.
100%. I mean, this is election interference, Terrence, no doubt about it. And everybody can see what this is. It's amazing with this particular case, by the way, that you had several different organizations not bring it forward. The FEC wouldn't prosecute this case. They said there's nothing there. Cy Vance wouldn't prosecute this case against Donald Trump, the previous district attorney of Manhattan. He said there's no basis or merit here. Alvin Bragg himself wouldn't prosecute it until Donald Trump actually ran for president again and started gaining momentum. And they said, oh, we got to rush this thing through. So they rushed this case in, jammed it in right in the middle of an election, of course. And we all saw what happened. And then they had to wait a month and a half for sentencing, miraculously 4 days before the convention, to your point. Here's the bottom line. It doesn't matter whether Donald Trump is in Trump Tower, Mar-a-Lago, or anywhere else they may try to put him. On the day that we, as the Republican Party, will be nominating him as our official candidate and our official nominee for president, he will accept that no matter where he is. He will go on to be our candidate all the way to November 5th, when he then is reelected as our 47th president. So try though they might to make this a negative for him, I think everybody can only see it's been a positive for him. Look at the money raised right after that verdict was read. In 48 hours post-verdict, we raised $70 million. These are small dollar online donations, and 30% of the people who donated had never once donated to Donald Trump ever before. People in this country see what's going on with this. They see how third world and communist it is, and they do not want to see this as the future of America. So I believe every time the Democrats try their lawfare or whatever other kind of crazy tactic it is to take down Donald Trump, it actually boomerangs on them in some way and makes Donald Trump even stronger, and this will be no different.
Are these two chicks from the same planet? I don't know if you guys see this. The one on the upper left, and then Laura. Dude, they're like, that's almost freaky kind of a little bit. They both got them in full lips. And all. I mean, they're not like sisters. This chick's face is even more narrow, but good Lord almighty. She probably hasn't had a meal in a week and a half, poor thing. Someone's got to feed you. Feed you, poor girl. You're stuck in a closet someplace. It's all horrible. RFK Jr. failed to qualify for the CNN debate. He also I saw a story, and I didn't even bring it up. This is close to bringing it up as I'm going to do, where the Green Party lady chick that probably got like a tiny percentage of the vote and zero, not even close to polling high enough. She's like, everybody should be allowed to go to the debate. It's not fair. And yeah, whatever. She's supposedly trying to sue or something silly. Nobody cares about you, sweetheart. You're like such a small percentage. Go get more popular. Get some money. Raise some money. Get successful, because that's how you got to play the game. Unfortunately, it is the way it is. You got to get in front of people. You can blame the system all you want. That's fine. Don't hate the game. Don't hate the playa. Right? That's like they say. All right. Supreme's got a couple things that came out. I'm surprised it's all that we got, and they were both crap. They're expecting some doozies tomorrow. We'll see what actually comes out. But there was a challenge to tax on foreign corporate investment. They basically said this can be taxed is the law. Now, how this was sold is this individual's family, bought a bunch of Indian stock, like a tractor company or something weird like that. And they never actually got any rebates. They never actually received any income. So they didn't believe they should have to pay tax. The argument against them was, well, look, you guys bought stock and then you actually made some money on that stock. And they said, yes, but we reinvested that back into more stock. So they took the extra money and reinvested it back into stock. They're considering that to be income, and based off the 16th Amendment, income can be taxed. So the Supreme Court sent it back like 7-2. Sent it back, said, no, they can tax them. That's fine. Whatever. A Supreme Court rules for ex-council member in Texas. She was arrested after criticizing a city official. Long story short, she took a document with her. It was a survey, or it was a something ballot. What was it? She took something with her. I don't know if it matters all that much. She inappropriately removed a document. It was a petition, citizen's petition. And she removed it on accident, was stuff in with some other papers on accident, which, you know, if you were stealing something, that's kind of how you would do it, FYI. Not saying you did. I'm just saying, if you were to steal, that's probably how you do it, right? You mix it in with shit and then hope you can get away with it. She got caught. She got arrested. They let her out like a day later. She had to spend the night in jail or something like that. And so she sued on that grounds that they, you know, shouldn't have done that. Ultimately, the Supreme Court came back and said, nah, they were fine. They did what they should have done. And you don't really have a right to sue a cop for doing a legal arrest. So that one got kicked back. Those are the only two I saw that showed up today. I thought that was kind of surprising. All right, douchey peeps. We got a few douchey peeps out there. One of these, I don't know for sure she's douchey. I am assuming she is douchey only because of where she governs. All said. And I think I can use that term. We'll see. We'll get there in a second. Illinois lawmaker seeks to criminalize flying American flags upside down. Yeah, veteran Illinois lawmaker says you shouldn't be able to do that. State Rep. Harry Benton introduced legislation that would prohibit politically motivated efforts that disrespect the flag. Now, I don't know, and I hope, and guys, correct me in the comments or something. I'd love that. If I'm wrong on this, I'm wrong on this. But does Illinois allow you to burn the flag? Because if you're allowed to burn the flag, but you're now telling me I can't fly it upside down because that's somehow been related to what the judge's wife is doing or what happened on January 6th, because we literally believe our country right now is in peril, and flying the flag upside down is sort of representative of that. So says the meaning of that. So again, if you're not allowed to burn the flag in Illinois, all right, cool. Then I guess push us forward. But if you're allowed to burn the flag in Illinois, F you, Harry. You are a hairy bastard. That's what you are. America First Legal, we've got two cool stories about these guys. So with Richard Gurnell, these guys got together, and they have dissolved the Brennan Clapper Deep State Intel Group that was aimed at weaponizing DHS against political dissent. They're going to be releasing some of the notes coming up, but they are literally stopped a group that was trying to infiltrate some of these conservative groups and actually delegitimize them, criminalize them if they can, fine them, fund them, IRS. Again, the attacks. These are the people that have gotten big enough that we can actually crush their dissenting views. And that's what they've basically been doing. It's almost like whack-a-mole, right? They knock down one guy and then someone else starts becoming popular because that person's been tied up in court. And then they whack that guy one down, right? And that's why, to some degree, it's not always the biggest channel that survives. So again, sometimes some of us have a plan. I'm just going to say, some of us have a plan. We just filed, this is also America First Legal. They just filed demands for investigations into the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease and Dr. Anthony Fauci for allegedly using private emails for official government business. Doing so violates the federal law. It is time for accountability. 2. In May of this year, AFL demanded multi-front federal government investigation into Dr. David Morenz, Dr. Fauci's senior advisor, for attempting to circumvent FOIA requests by secretly conducting official business through a personal email address. They recently sued for that as well. We also remember the lady they keep referring to. I forget her name. But she's the one that taught them all how to do this. Oh, the system is coming down, folks. Alec Baldwin. Yeah, the guy that's like, I didn't shoot it. Their fault for putting bullets in it. Well, come to find out, Alec Baldwin allegedly was engaged in horseplay with his gun. I don't know if that's a funny little snag on the time period. I don't think so. Of course, I know horseplay means messing around, fooling around. For all you guys that are about to email me, Dan, horseplay means, I know what horseplay is. We used to do that. My mom get mad. Don't horse around. So I know. I was just being funny because he was on like a Western. Anyway. He was horsing around with his gun. He fired a blank round at a crew member. Prior to the 2021 fatal shooting of cinematographer Haina Hutchins of the Rust film set, according to a new court filing, prosecutors are examining how the actor flouted security protocols leading up to the deaths of Hutchins. His trial is slated to start in a few weeks on July 9th in Santa Fe, New Mexico. That should be bad for him. FBI agents raided a home in Oakland's Mayor Sheng Tao Thursday morning, sources told us, in Oakland. She's an Asian lady, too. So you guys know I'd probably give her the benefit of the doubt. It's like, no, she's probably fine. She's kind of cute. Did I say fine already? Right. No, but she's Oakland. It's Oakland. So it's like, no, you probably are a bad person. It's unfortunate. Shame, shame. Hope your family's ashamed of you. Anywho, we'll see what happens. It's an investigation. You're not guilty until proven innocent, but the FBI raided her house. So, whatever. And she's definitely not conservative, I'll tell you that much. Liz Harrington put this out. There are over 20,000 unsubstantiated ballots in Georgia's 2020 original results from tabulators that do not exist, according to the Rossi. This is a complaint that's been filed. Fulton County provided proof, quote unquote, they exist, except their proof showed they use serial numbers for different machines. There's a word for this. Oh, yes, fraud. Yeah, exactly. Liz, good call. And well put at the end. Well played. I like the, oh, yes. You're so slinky like that. I love it. All said. Hey, guys, I want to tell you something really cool about this company. First off, I love them. And the more I experience them, the more I'm loving them. This, of course, is Pet Club 247. Now, you want to go to danradiostyle.petclub247.com. I have been taking this for 5 days now, I think. 2 in the morning, 2 at night. It's 50. It's one pill for every 50 pounds, which is pretty close to what I should take during the day. And then kind of break it in half and you split it out so that way you kind of constantly keep it in your system. Now, one of the things I heard I would experience is, one, better health, by the way, but you don't really experience that per se. I was already in good health. For any of you out there that are like, Dan, are you doing this because, no, everything's good. I'm doing this because I smoked for 21 years. And I'm like, probably a good idea. If there is sort of any weird stuff in there, let's go ahead and take something that's got 400 studies to demonstrate that it actually helps remove and minimize those types of things. So I'm like, let's just do this as it's good for me. But what he did say is you're going to probably sleep better. You'll notice that. That's what a lot of people report. And that is definitely happening. I've been sleeping rather well. And it's weird. Sleep is, again, one of those things that's a little difficult to gauge, but I can tell when I don't sleep well. And those nights are far less than they used to be, which is awesome. But the other thing that's really weird, I don't normally remember my dreams. I want to say every night since I've been taking this, I remember my dreams. Frankly, some of them have been really cool. But I am remembering my dreams. And that's not happened in a very long time. We'll see if these things are tied together. But incredible products that help benefit your health. Now, I'm talking about myself, and that's awesome. But most of us don't realize there's all sorts of studies that show your dogs and cats, any of them that have any health problems. There's a number of different testimonials. I've read them before. So many different health problems have been helped. Mush puppies are like the best thing right here, the mush puppies. But they've got mush puppies that are supercharged. They've got mojos, which are different. They've got food, dry, soft, that's got no chemicals, no additives, also has these mushrooms in there. And it has the same effect on your animals. I don't know if they're going to dream better. We'll find out if you see them doing the rabbit chasing thing, but they will be healthier. And that's what they've noticed with all their pets. Their pets, their dogs and their cats. The ones especially that are starting to get older and you can tell the hip dysplasia and they're having some issues or whatever. These won't fix the hip dysplasia. But these things fix a lot of the kidney problems. You got dogs and cats on different medicines. You'd be surprised the benefits you'll see. Some of the lesions will start going away. Some of the coat will start coming back better. It just has something to do with the immune system for all of us. It's this magic mushroom, if you will, but it's not in any sort of weird way. And not all mushrooms are good for dogs, by the way. 400 plus studies. Stuff's awesome. danradiostyle.petclub247.com. danradiostyle.petclub247.com. Awesome stuff for dogs, cats, horses, and they've got a tab for humans. And again, some really good stuff. They even have coffee that's had all the toxins taken out. Smells really good. I haven't tried it yet. I need to. I just don't make pots of coffee often. But I don't want to K-cup it. I feel like that's crap. K-cups suck. Right? Even if you put real grounds in there, it's still not the same thing. So I just need to have a day where I'm going to have 3-4 cups of coffee because it's going to be delicious, and I look forward to it. But it smells awesome. Very, very good. I got a dark roast, and it's none of the toxins and stuff are in it. So something to keep in mind. danradiostyle.petclub247.com. You're helping the channel, obviously. Majorly helping yourself and your loved ones. And I mean your little 4-legged loved ones. And there's a lot of them that can be benefited from this. danradiostyle.petclub247.com. Yeah, good stuff. Dreams, too. Oh, it's been cool. Really cool dreams, some of them. Ex-Boris Johnson's advisor has predicted that the UK Conservatives face a massacre. So again, even in England, they're trying to push some crap narratives that, no, you conservative guys, it's a bunch of crap. No, Nigel Farage doesn't have a chance. Yeah, so you guys got to fight hard. You guys got to seriously, any of my British people that listen, you all need to seriously ripple. Ripple hard. Ripple like it's the last chance. Ripple for Queen and Country. Or something. But get pissed off. And then even maybe so some of us can tell. UK climate protests target Taylor Swift's airfield. So it's the way they state the story is kind of funny. So Taylor Swift's plane was at this airfield because she was doing a concert or whatever the hell. But they went in there and they attacked other planes. Not actual Taylor Swift's plane, but other planes. And so they just broke into this thing and sprayed stuff on this private jet and another private jet, supposedly. Which, again, this is insanity. This is just, again, this eco-terrorism stuff is just stupid. Stupid. Is illegal, too. So, anyway, I wish people would call it out. Nigel Farage is saying Reform UK will ban the poisonous trans ideology in our schools. Hopefully you'll fix some of the other problems that are going on in your country. We'll see how that all plays out. Now, across the world, we got some fun stuff going on. Hezbollah has fired rockets at Israel after a fighter was apparently killed over there. And then we find out that Israeli jets have now bombed Lebanon. They've reportedly approved plans for a ground operation against Hezbollah. Their defense forces have bombed several Hezbollah targets in southern Lebanon, West Jerusalem announced on Tuesday evening. So the war is kind of stepping up a hair. Let's see if we can make this bigger, maybe. There it is. So yeah, this is some of the targeting that had happened. The IDF provided these videos. This is like CNN back in the Gulf War, the original Gulf War, Gulf War I. What do we call that one? Persian Gulf, I think is what we called it. Persian Gulf War? I feel like that's what we called it back when it was happening for that day and a half, 2 days. 3 days, I think, but felt like it was over before it started. Some of the coolest stuff, though. All said, war sucks, but we make some really, really neat stuff that way. It's a shame. U.S. is going to redirect Patriot air defense orders to Ukraine. Apparently, they were making some of these for other people. They're now going to go ahead and send those to Ukraine. The weapons manufacturers don't really care where they send them. They're like, hey, we're just building them as fast as we can. So that's part of that multi-billion-dollar whatever, and we're supposed to be happy that it's going to the weapons designers. Well, now we're stealing stuff from other customers that maybe deserve them more. Just saying. South Korea will consider supplying arms to Ukraine after Russia and North Korea sign a strategic pact. So now, of course, South Korea is like, all right, we're going to give weapons to Ukraine. It's so friggin' stupid. Everyone's escalating, right? You see how any of these behaviors do anything other than cause more war? Right? Strength through peace is surprising. Like the threat of, I don't need to do all this nonsense. I don't need to. You do this kind of crazy, here's what's up. I'm gonna nuke the shit out of you, and then, you know, when your country stops glowing, we'll come in and take prisoners. I'm kidding, but, you know, whatever. Only pirates do this. Philippines accuses China of using bladed weapons in the major South China Sea escalation. I think this boat maybe is Chinese. Hard to tell because I can see the Chinese flag way over here, but then there's all these little putter boats, little shitty boats. But they're like, this guy threatens, he's like, I cut you with my spoon, or whatever that is. I don't know, it's a sword or something. It's just like a gift, kind of. And he's like, he's going to cut their raft. This is insanity, what's going on. So again, escalation. Dutch PM Mark Rutte, set to be the next NATO secretary. A lot of talk about this guy. The guy that was actually going to go against him stepped out. So I don't know if this is like, I kind of hope this is the good guys taking over NATO, but it's that or the other way around. I don't know. One extreme happened, but this guy, I think it was Orban, was kind of speaking positively of him, which I thought was interesting. So I kind of think he's a good guy. We'll see how this plays out. But yeah, the other dude that was probably the bad guy, he backed out. I think what his name was, might be in here somewhere. I don't see it. Informed his allies of his withdrawal. Yeah. Oh, Iohannis. That's why I didn't want to see it. He communicated his decision during the meeting of the Supreme Council of National Defense, saying he had informed NATO allies of his withdrawal. So all said, he's stepping out. Russia names main condition for BRICS membership. I like this. I think this is very interesting and kind of cool. Said any country seeking to join BRICS group should not participate in illegal unilateral sanctions. This is the thing that SWIFT or United States dollar, what we've done is we force people to do what we want them to do, or we threaten to take away their ability to use the SWIFT system and all these things, which is banking and a lot of things like that. It's also the central banks. It's not just the United States, but it was our denomination that generally was involved in this. I thought that was very interesting that Russia's trying to, in my opinion, do it the right way. I think that's the proper way. You shouldn't be able to hold this over people's heads and try to force them to behave in certain ways. That's not cool. Baltimore attorneys want to prevent Dali crew from leaving the U.S. The guys that were on this ship that crashed into the bridge, they still want to keep them there. I mean, right, wrong, and different. Okay. I mean, I don't know if they're criminal or if it's the company. I don't know if we're holding them hostage, but it seems kind of weird. Like, the crew is, I mean, if it's put them in jail or there's still an investigation, they're saying, but what more are you planning on digging up? It's very interesting. I don't know what's going on. It seems kind of political, but meh. Here in California, because we're stupid, really good at being stupid, they're building these high-rise condos, and they're about $600,000 per unit. Now, a lot of people would say, holy crap, that's insanely expensive. Well, yeah, it is, but it's not. It's California. You'd probably get a shit little apartment for about $600,000 if you could buy it. All said, that is what they're doing. There's a gym, a lounge, cafe, but they're using this for homeless. It's going to be a homeless shelter. Skyrise, homeless shelter. No way that doesn't somehow have a problem. I just don't see how this can possibly work out. It's really nice when they show the pictures and stuff. I don't really want to waste extra time on it, but insanity, I'll tell you that much. Guys, you want to help the channel, help out a family, and try to get yourself, a picture of you on the show. That's one thing I want. I want to be able to put these collages together, kind of like And We Know. A lot of you guys watch him. He does really cool, like these collage-type videos of all the people wearing his merch and stuff. And so I want to get a bunch of you guys. I've already actually got some really cool pictures of a horse, apparently, that's wearing my gear. Yeah, I didn't know that. I was talking, we sell the Pet Club 247, right? Dan Radio Style, petclub247.com. They sell horse products there. Oddly, apparently our merch works for horses too. You'll see that in the next video. But I want to get some more videos from some of you guys. But again, 5G warfare. Inform people what's going on, what's happening right now, right? And this is on the back. You can see the whole first gen, second gen, all the way through. You are here. The fifth is circled. They're really cool. Got sweatshirts, long sleeve shirts, tank tops, t-shirts for men, unisex and women with little booby pockets, I guess. And then, of course, the baseball shirts for the On the Fringe group, the OTF Army of Enlightenment, the Great Awakening. Come join it. Are you ready for it? Like, be a part of this, guys. And then also we've got some really, really cool mugs. We're going to be adding some new stuff as well. I think there's some 9/11 stuff and there's some Hawaii stuff. She's got a lot of ideas. She keeps throwing them at me. We'll see what actually happens. That's all right. A little bit of a pressure on my friend. We'll see what happens. All said, truththread.shop. Truththread.shop. You're going to get an email when you order. Use that email to send back a picture, and that will make its way to me. Truththread.shop. Be part of the Great Awakening, my friends. Be a part of the family. Be a part of the fun. And wear some cool clothes while you're at it. That's going to be a lot of fun. Boeing Starliner right now is currently stuck at the International Space Station. Stuck. They don't want to bring it back. They've still got some problems. They still got a small leak. They're saying they're trying to downplay it. Not a big deal. I think I got a video. Nope, I didn't pull it up. But yeah, they are stuck there. They said it's June 6th is at least the next chance they're going to have. There's a possibility that they might have to send Elon Musk's Dragon capsule to get up there to remove them because the Boeing craft can't make it back, or they'll die if they try, or likely die if they try. And they're having issues with the thrusters. I think that's the big problem. Be curious to see if they, kick this thing to the curb and somehow try to deorbit it. Don't know what Boeing's going to do, even if they have to rescue the astronauts. But it does make me wonder. That other day they were practicing a decompression incident. I kind of wonder if that's what happened with the Boeing capsule, and they had to bring them into the space station, that they were having a problem, They accidentally broadcast that. Didn't mean for people to realize. Well, it's starting to look like maybe it wasn't maybe an accident. We'll see. A software company that is used by a lot of dealers to sell cars and all sorts of stuff. I guess they're called CDK Global. They got hacked pretty hard. They had to shut down their system on late Tuesday night. Eventually, they got it back up and running, I guess, but this affected a lot of the car sales and all sorts of stuff. They had to do some manual processes that they could do to work around it. Again, it would have slowed down everything. So this was a big problem. And I don't know. I'm not sure who's getting hacked and who's hacking who anymore. I know everybody's going to blame Russia, and maybe it is. Don't know. I kind of think it's more of a deep state versus white hats, and I sometimes wonder who's hitting who, honestly. This was a trip. I will play some of this. This is a major trip. So they got the computer things on your eyes, for your eyes now, and they've gone many generations of this. So again, it's not surgically implanted, but it is that mixture of man and machine, that's for sure. Mount St. Helens in Washington State, right on the border of Washington and Oregon, has had a lot of earthquakes over the last little bit, and people are suspicious that maybe another eruption is occurring. 1980 was the last known one that I'm aware of anyways. Blew off a giant part of the mountain, which is crazy. And then also sent ash all the way to Montana. My parents or grandparents lived out in Spokane, Washington. We had a bunch. I filled up mayonnaise jars with this ash. And it's funny, as you put the seal on, right, like a Bell jar, and you put that seal on there, and you'd hold it upside down and shake it, you could see it come through. Like it was that fine. That was the trippiest thing. It was probably finer than talcum powder, I think. Super fine. It's crazy. A couple more stories. I don't know. This is kind of interesting. This is supposed to be sort of one of those questions I pose to the audience that sometimes pisses people off, sometimes doesn't. But porn's a funny thing. Now, I find that the choices people make as individuals are what matter, right? Isn't it? The freedom to do what you wish to do, and if somebody wants to do something in their own house. I'm going to say I'm not a big porn guy. I've watched it a few times, plenty of times in my life. In fact, watch it with people, and that's really crazy. But I don't have an account in Pornhub. I don't like regularly watch porn. Every once in a while, it's fun to see naked stuff. But outside of that, whatever. But there are people that are so adamant against it because of religious or beliefs, or just because it's ruined relationships, or it's caused them to not be able to have normal relationships. And I think there's a lot of very negative things that come from porn. Porn is not a positive thing at all. So a lot of people are like, it should be banned. But that, I feel, is kind of the same thing. Maybe the equivalent might be like a gas-powered car, right? Like, I should be able to ban you from buying a gas-powered car because I, as a climate person, think you're doing so much damage, whether you want to or not, that I should be able to stop you from doing that. I should be able to stop your behavior because I don't agree with it, or I think it's wrong. And maybe it is, maybe it's not. But I kind of wonder, why are we the ones that are supposed to judge that and then decide whether or not someone has access or doesn't have access to porn? I mean, maybe it's better than them going out and seeking God knows what else instead. But all that said, apparently a few more states have joined the ban on porn because they require an age verification. Pornhub's not having anything to do with that. So Texas, North Carolina, Montana, Mississippi, Virginia, Arkansas, and Utah are all Pornhub free at this point in time. I'm wondering which states will follow. Again, it tends to be the ones I think that are a little more on the religious side. And again, no ban on anybody, no slam. I'm just one of these things I'd love to see you guys throw in the old comments. Like, don't be mean to anybody. But that's kind of my question. Should you be able to force somebody to stop doing a behavior because you think it's wrong, even if it's not necessarily hurting you per se as an individual? I don't know. I'm not saying it's victimless crime, but I know there's illegal stuff that goes in. It's complicated. So anyway, have at it. Have a fun talk. I think it's cool. Donald Sutherland, 1935 to 2024. He has passed away. He was in many, many shows. MASH. I don't remember him in MASH. It's so funny. I wouldn't say I watched MASH, but I've seen a crap ton of episodes of MASH. All said, the beginning song of MASH to me is one of the most depressing songs that you could possibly play on TV. For whatever reason, that, oh my God, it's like I want to start crying or whatever. It's horrible. All said, yeah. Goodbye to Donald Sutherland. I don't know. I hope his son Kiefer always seemed kind of cool. I don't know. He did some pretty cool characters and stuff. Anyway, I don't know who's who anymore. I don't know who's the good and who's the bad. This guy's been tied up in Hollywood so long, I don't know. And he's had some pretty crazy parts. Whatever the case is. World's changing, folks. We're a part of it. It's a lot of fun if you think about it. But you've got to be prepared. There's a lot of things that we know are kind of coming. They're going to come at us. We've got a lot of ways that we can protect ourselves. So be smart. Make sure you're ready as best you can, and we'll get there. We're going together. It's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it. It's where we go one, we go all. It's On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.